All right. So today is an open letter to all my Republican friends. Um, Over the past few months, I've made dozens of videos arguing about why I believe what I believe. None of that has changed. Um, but I do want to say that right now, at this moment in time, the election is tomorrow. And I do want to focus on after, whatever after is, after tomorrow, after January, whenever it is that we have to get down back to speaking to each other. It's like a sports game, watching these football games, and halfway through it, the players about to fight, and so on and so forth. And at the end, they're exchanging jerseys, talking about what they might eat before they leave town, and things like that. It's unfortunate sometimes, but in the sense of competitiveness. But at the end of the day, they know that they belong to a particular fraternity, which is that professional sports league, and that many of them are personally friends. And there's people that are voting and will vote for Trump, but we are personal friends. And it's helped control some of the demonizing, even in the videos that I make, in the sense that I know it's good people rather than just being stuck with the characterizations of the extremists. So that's basically the totality of the message of this video. You can stick around as I kind of break it down a little bit, or you can stop right there. But I am calling for compromise and finding out how to move forward collectively, no matter who wins. And it's not based on the expectation that Biden's going to win. So now that we're winning, let's not fight or whatever else. Democrats win every election except for '04. But because of suppression and gerrymandering and the electoral college, in this democracy, they don't count the votes, and that's the winner. So it does not matter that Democrats are going to consistently get the popular vote. He can win by 4 or 5 million. This president is going to call it fraudulent, no matter how he loses. If he wins, it's clear. If he loses, it's not. Hopefully, he mans up if he does lose, and by midnight tomorrow night, he's been very presidential, conceded, congratulated, and moved on, and vice versa. And that you just call for healing from there, and that the divisions kind of go away. This video will at times not seem to be along the lines of reconciliation, because it will be a perspective of what those on my side feel. But I think that's an important aspect of it, if it's so far from what you feel or how you see it, because it is a matter of how otherwise reasonable people who you know are decent and who you respect could feel so differently about these issues than you do. And so that's what this video is for. It's what the other videos are for. Actually, I hope that they promoted understanding, but in their explanations, they were more times a more forceful advocating of the positions that I believe, as opposed to accepting that we're both in a situation where nobody has all the answers. And I've noticed that as they've have clamped down on the political ads, because most of the time I could avoid them. They were on TV. I do a lot of streaming, but now the streaming from YouTube to Hulu is just bombarded by political ads. And being varied in the political world, I'm getting all the ads. And you're just wondering how anybody believes the stuff that are in the other ads. I saw one, mobs not job, or jobs not mobs, or something like that. And that is the strong belief. It had to defund the police and the chaos from like Seattle or something in the summer and in Portland, and just like, hey, this is coming for you if you don't vote for Trump. Totally ridiculous in my eyes. But what are my eyes? Well, my eyes are if Trump wins, no black person is safe from a traffic stop. That you're 2 inches away from being shot in the back 14 times as opposed to the 7 times that were shot in the back now. And that's totally preposterous to many on the right that the police are out as an organization to wholesale murder and commit genocide against the black race. That masks are out to kill you and part of the Illuminati is reasonable. That mobs are coming to rape you and your wife in the middle of the night is completely reasonable. That there's racism in America's police department, totally unreasonable to you. So that's why, from my perspective, those things seem easy to understand. But I was listening to NPR the other day, and they were talking about the difference between disinformation and misinformation. And those are very important distinctions because what's happening right now for all of us is, well, a little breakdown. Misinformation is part of misinformed. And that is a bit of the things I'm coming on these videos to explain. I'm not trying to trick you or deceive you. I believe that's how it is, and that if you only listen to reason, you would come to believe it. Now, I could be misinformed. My facts could be skewed or something like that, for example. But to the best of my understanding, this is the way it is, and I'm only trying to help. Same thing for many of you. You're not advocating your position. I've had a lot of debates in the comment section of true believers of Trump's not out to wipe out black people, you sheeple who are too busy following the Democrats, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm, hey, you armchair neo-Nazi, skinhead, knucklehead, mouth-breathing knuckle draggers are just trying to get us back to the 1840s and we're not going back, et cetera, et cetera. So that's different. Most of us are currently being affected by a disinformation campaign run by foreign governments. And we get enough different disinformation that's skewed by political parties, right? Jobs, not mobs. If Trump's in there, nobody but white male property owners are safe in America. You can say that's hyperbolic at the very least. Of course, both parties are saying, if you continue with this guy or if you go to this guy, all bets are off. You're doomed. Forget it. That's it. And many of us are just like, oh my God, I hope that guy doesn't get it because we're screwed, right? So it's a lot different for disinformation. Disinformation is coming externally in bots through social media, through confirmation bias. Confirmation bias means that my phone and my feeds are constantly showing me stories that confirm y'all are at it again. I swear to God, y'all are at it again. There are further efforts at voter intimidation, voter suppression targeted at black people. That's what my feeds are. My feeds are not about dumb Democrats or nothing else. It's about they don't want y'all to vote. They're finding ways to block you from voting. Watch what your governor does. You better get out there and vote because they are working very hard to make sure that you don't have a right to vote. And your family and your ancestors gave their lives for you to have the right to vote. And all of them are doing everything they can with the Proud Boys all going to be there trying to intimidate you and block you from voting, and all these armed nuts about the mask, or they're going to be trying to put you back through what your ancestors had to go through with the poll tax and whatever else, and whatever they can do to block voters' rights in America. They're trying to stop democracy for their neo-fascist state, and you better not let them. That's my feed. Confirmation bias. If I'm already susceptible to believing that, and here are all these stories confirming my worst fears. That's the way it is. Not to convince us, not to change our mind, but to reinforce that our worst nightmares are coming true. It's no coincidence that people are voting in complete and total belief that they are saving America from the other guy and his ilk. Whoever the other guy is, the other guy and his ilk. If you want to be saved from the mobs and Antifa and the terrorist organization of Black Lives Matter or whatever else, you better hang on to Trump if you don't want police departments to all go away and the mobs to be marching down the street, attacking you and your family. Period. You better get down there today, because you could wake up Wednesday and it's a Black Lives Antifa world, and there's no more police departments, and the mobs are marching down the street, burning up all the businesses on your street. You can't call the police. You won't be safe no more. They'll be marching down the street, paying Whitey back for all the things he's ever done. So you better get down there and pull that lever right now. All right? Or the other side, if you want the Jews will not replace us, the very fine people, Proud Boys, neo-Nazis marching up and down the streets with their AR-15s and the police supporting them and the police shooting you like it's a turkey shoot, and these militias out here murdering you wholesale, you better get down here and vote for Biden. He is going to be the only thing standing between you and a black Holocaust. That's it. If you want your children to be able to drive your car and be safe, if you want your grandchildren to live in a world that doesn't look like 1940s America, you better get out here and vote for Joe Biden. Period. Confirmation bias. So the reality is nothing's going to happen. Nothing. There'll be some knuckleheads and some angry people, and they'll be pissed off and show out for, I don't know, days, weeks, months. Doesn't matter. And America will be there, and you'll still have to go to work, and you'll buy Christmas presents, and the world will go on no matter who wins. And I thought long and hard about, through all of this, paying those guys back. They voted in Trump. Where's our Trump? Where's our Trump? I mean, what would mush them in the forehead the way they've mushed us in the forehead with Trump? Farrakhan, something? Because of course in my eyes, Farrakhan is 100% more reasonable than Trump ever was. He's old. He tells it like it is. White people are the devil. Can't argue with that. And charismatic. Farrakhan 2024. I don't know what the downside to that would be. Fortunately, black people are more conservative than that and didn't allow us to have Sanders. We're not going to allow us to have Omar AOC ticket in 24. And by the time they got to North Carolina, black people got rid of all the progressives and said, no. We're going to put up another milquetoast candidate like we did in 16, and we lost with that. Won the popular vote, lost the election. do not give us another machinery candidate because they lose. And they're going to do it anyway. Unfortunately, because it is the right thing to do. We need somebody conciliatory. We need somebody that can reach across the aisle. We need somebody that will negotiate the road forward. Would we like wholesale completely everything that we want? Sure. But it's a democracy and we all have to live in this country. Would we be better off going completely 100% of the way to progressives? I believe so. But everybody doesn't. And reasonable people don't believe so. When I sit with my conservative friends, we can agree on abortion. What part of it should be legal? Not just as a woman's body and you're still in her right, or you're committing a mortal sin if you have an abortion. Both are true. But what are we going to do about it in this democracy, in this civil society that we live in? Right? Nobody really wants to take away a woman's rights, and nobody really advocates for abortion. So after we're done demagoguing it and demonizing each other, what could two reasonable sides agree to? Right? Roe v. Wade needs an answer. And that's just an example. And of course, we have a long list of things to resolve. But I do want to be one of the people that I don't want to be, which is to call for calm, unity, and acceptance that it's over and we got to figure out a way forward together. So that's tougher than it should be because honestly, we all believe that's our goal. Even those that are not willingly following along, we still believe that, I don't want them blown up or lined up and shot. I believe that they would come around and see that it would benefit them if everybody had access to health insurance, if they stopped fighting it because it says Obama on the front. I believe they know that it would benefit them if taxes were progressive instead of regressive. I believe that they would learn that it would benefit them if police did their job across the board the same way in all communities, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I don't believe that any of my positions are against anyone. Much the same way, I don't think most decent, reasonable people on the other side believe that their positions are anti-me, anti-black, anti-women, anti-this or that. They believe more money, more capital in the system, frees up credit, credit opens businesses, businesses can be large and small, employers and whatever else, rising tide raises all boats. They do not believe that it's rich getting away with murder and poor suffer. Many of them fundamentally don't believe that. So it's important that we accept that we are trying to get to the same place. And both sides are actually arguing, don't go their way because their way will completely destroy it. We're the ones trying to save it. We're the ones trying to save it, in spite of the other side. I've watched the conservatives go from the silent majority and calling the vocal minority of liberals the elites, and now the flyover states consider themselves the elite. Now you're at 35, 45%. That's the most support Trump can muster. And then instead of accepting that everybody from late night comics to the majority of Americans don't accept your positions, that's taking you from the majority, the Rush Limbaugh crowd, to the enlightened ones. And those who follow the mainstream, the ones who are in the majority, the ones who agree the right way to go, are just the ones that are out of touch. Or just the ones that just don't get it. And you're the ones that get it. You had a very different attitude when it was the silent majority. Then it was all about most Americans, most Americans, most Americans. Now that most Americans are on the other side, now the mainstream media and everybody needs to go to hell. Very convenient way of thinking. But say the same thing for the other side. When they were the minority, you people don't get it. You're the old guard, you're the old thinking. Now that they're the majority, why can't you just get on board? This is the way most Americans are going. So, again, back to disinformation. There's bots from China, Russia, Iran, Honduras that are playing the algorithms in the social media and in other formats, reaffirming not only what you already believe, but the rabbit hole version of what you believe. Because you're already here and you're just being nudged and nudged and nudged and nudged. And all of a sudden, you believe with no rational reason that there are mobs out there. You go to work every day, you go to the store, you encountered any mobs? No. And if Joe Biden gets in there, he's going to let mobs roam the streets? Joe Biden. Joe Biden. No. Joe Biden is having a hard enough time. Oh, losing my screen here. Joe Biden is having a hard enough time with the left. And you're being sold he's on board with the progressives, but he's been picked because he stonewalled the progressives on all the progressive things in an attempt to reach out to you guys, which progressives like myself believe is a failing strategy because, in fairness to you, you guys picked reasonable guys and we fell all over the furniture like they were the worst thing ever. And we would chew off our right arm right now to have a chance for John McCain or Mitt Romney to run. But when you guys ran him, which ran him against Obama, but yeah, we'll take John McCain. We'll take Mitt Romney right now. But they were too extreme when we didn't want them. And now we're running Hillary and Biden. And you're going to say no to that and play them as extreme, and we're going to get a Trump who's actually going to be that. So I hope we can stop the back and forth now and say, whoever wins, this is the president. Let's do it. I hope it's clear. Hope everybody got a chance to vote. I hope the person gets the Electoral College and the popular vote. So one side isn't constantly holding on to something else. Still holding on to say he's illegitimate. These Republicans who can't get the popular vote and then whine about nobody considers them legitimate over and over again because it's a democracy and you lose by millions of votes. And they're always illegals. 3 million. So there's 6 million illegal votes. Yeah, probably. Yeah. What's illegal? Not white male property owners? Stop it. Stop it. Don't be a sore loser. You got the Electoral College. That's how you win in this country. Take it. Nobody else became president. Nobody argued. Nobody went to court about the popular vote. Take that you lost the popular vote. Because if you want to discuss fraud and manipulation, we're going to discuss that Electoral College. We're going to discuss Republican governors redrawing maps and redistricting, and we're going to discuss gerrymandering and voter suppression and felonies eliminating black voters, and et cetera, et cetera. There is a whole rabbit hole that you're not paying any attention to about voter suppression. And that's all we get into when you trigger that with voter fraud. Remember, voter fraud is your way of tuning out voter suppression. But one's more legitimate than the other. So be careful with that. I also want you to be careful that whenever you are getting confirmation bias, make it your business to go read and research the other side's issue or position on that issue. Go read it. Go read it as a reasonable version, not the hysterical version, the reasonable version. What are they fearing? What do they believe? It's a ridiculous belief to you. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous that people have an argument for masks. It's totally ridiculous to me. You can understand for years that you cough and sneeze into your elbow because you want to limit germs going out over people, and you don't understand that having a mask on is like wearing an elbow over your face. You don't understand that basic concept that spittle is released, or that's how you spread germs is from your mouth. You don't understand that, and that the mask is going to keep your germs localized to you, and it's going to keep the. You don't understand that basic matter of physics. It doesn't work. Yeah, it does work. It makes sure whatever's coming in your mouth only goes so far. That's its only purpose. That's it. That's it. Whether it strains, whether it filters, or completely blocks, that is its purpose. And the less of your germs that come out of your mouth and get onto other people limits your chance of transmitting the coronavirus that you're currently carrying around. That's it. That's not hard. That's not a hard bouncing ball to follow. But I have to look and see why people feel it's legitimate to argue that. And say, I still don't agree, and that's totally stupid and ridiculous, but I understand. Understand that you are misinformed, that you wholeheartedly believe it, that you wholeheartedly could be right. So be careful as we finish this election of letting this president lure you into the courts, lure you into the legal system. Don't let him take you down that track. Say, this is a democracy and this is what we're going to do. Don't give him any support if he plain out loses. Give him all the support in the world if he loses. I'll support him if he wins. If he wins. Give him all the support in the world if he wins. If he wins, I'll support him. If he loses, say, let's do this the right way. Because you don't want the tit for tat. The Senate will not always be Mitch McConnell. The president will not always be Donald Trump. And if you show that you sold out your soul, evangelicals, for an adulterer who's paid a porn star and whatever else, and you want to come back and be the Christian right, it's going to be too late. It's going to be too late. Because you gave up on every moral principle that you had for a couple of Supreme Court selections and a tax cut. It better be worth it. But you will never be a moral authority again. Because this was your guy. This was your guy. So when the liberal Trump comes, and it's coming, you're going to want that restraint to be used. You're going to want us to get back down to milquetoast candidates, elections with 35% participation, a world that doesn't change no matter who's president. It just keeps ticking on, and you can live your life without worrying about what the president said that day. That's the world I would like to go back to. That's the world I think we all want to go back to. So, support the winner. That's what I'm going to do. And that doesn't mean roll over and play dead. It's still a democracy. If you don't vote for Biden and you vote for Trump and Biden's the president, say, well, you're my president too, do your job. Oh, you want to pass this tax hike or whatever else? I don't want that tax hike. Call your congressman, call your senator and say, hey, negotiate us a better deal. He's going for 100%. Make sure you get it down to 70. Get us something. Get us what you can. They want to pass this on healthcare. If you don't agree, make him do his job. He's your president. He works for you. He's still your president. He works for you. And that's exactly what I'm going to do for Trump. You're my president. Do your job. Do your job. For all Americans. I don't want no more of this blue state bullshit. I don't want no more of this black bullshit. I don't want no more of this Mexican bullshit. You're everybody's president. Stop holding rallies, dear leader, and go do your job. You ran again. First time you didn't think you was going to get it, and you just kind of dumbfounded that this country would do that. Now you're my president. Do your job. No, I don't want that policy. Let's figure something out. No, I don't want that policy. Let's figure something out. Oh, Obamacare sucks. Okay, well, how are you going to bring down prescription costs? How are the people, the 40 million people who don't have health care, going to get health care? How? They screamed for 8 years while Obama was there. They screamed since 92, since Hillary Clinton did it. And year after year after year after year, you don't have a way for people who don't have health care to have affordable health care. You're going to have to come up with it. Not just, oh, we hate this. You're in power. No more of this party of no shit. You need to start being the party of solutions. You got your Supreme Court. You got your tax cut. Now it's time to do some work for everybody. So that's what we're going to expect. You're going to have to be everybody's president starting tomorrow night. I'm not going to question legitimacy. I'm not going to question the election. I'm going to, day one, do your fucking job. Do your job. I don't want to talk about you in tweets for 4 more years. You're going to do your fucking job this time. Period. If it's Joe Biden, do your fucking job. And your job is not to sit around and whine and pit me against other Americans or whatever else. Your job is to get us the best deal you can for what we want. And I understand that you're going to have to negotiate with those who don't want it. Do your job. I don't want to focus on presidential politics for the next 4 years straight. I don't need to hear from you. Go do your job. While me and my Republican friends and my Democratic friends debate the minutiae in the break room and then watch football on Sunday. I want to go back to that America. And I hope you do too. That's it. Went on long enough, but I can't stress the importance enough of confirmation bias. Google it up, Yahoo it up, whatever is on Mac and iOS devices, search engines. Look it up and protect your family from confirmation bias bots. Have a great day.